Naspers is a multinational media giant with stakes in internet businesses in emerging markets, pay TV and a print media company. The group's most significant assets are 35% of Chinese internet company Tencent and wholly owned DStv MultiChoice in Africa. Naspers has a market cap of 232 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 43 and a dividend yield of 0.8%. And here many say don't bet against Koos Bekker.
Yeah, he's done spectacularly well. Hasn't taken a salary, but is worth, 6-7 billion rand on the back of his share appreciation rights. Tencent, as you say, fabulous asset, managed by Chinese, out of China. Important because, there was that very chacharach story about how the Chinese politicians were all too rich by the New York Times, and the Chinese just basically shut down the entire New York Times, unreachable. So the point here is Tencent is one of the most important internet companies in China, but it's inside China.
It's run by Chinese.
And it isn't seen as a foreign company that you can, and it's got gaming, and it's got chat forums, and it's got mini blogging, it's got data lookups and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a combination of Mixit and Tencent and all these other sort of Facebook and equivalents over there.
And it looks as though, just another comment on the fact that it is Chinese, the company. It's similar to the Discovery foray at the moment into China with Ping An. Again, they're JVing effectively with the Chinese company.
I mean, they got involved very early, took a 35% stake, had board representation, but basically nothing else. The company is Hong Kong listed. That's how we know how much it's worth, because it just goes on growing in value. It's second only to Google in terms of the value of its internet business. And then, of course, you come back. Let me give Gary a chance. The business down here is not bad either.
I was wondering whether you were going to give Gary a chance or not. In terms of the Chinese operation, Tencent, most people say that is the story you're buying into when you go into Naspers. Is that an honest reflection of the truth?
I think it has to be. I mean, between Tencent, their 1.5% Facebook stake, and Mail.ru, it makes up sort of 90% of their revenue. So, I mean, you're looking at individual businesses, and there's a big focus in Naspers to get away from that. I mean, I think they've bought into 20 new sort of startup companies, and they're spreading the money around and trying to get that next big Tencent acquisition that's going to grow phenomenally and give them a little bit more diversification. Overall, I mean, I think it's a good strategy. I mean, obviously the investment there has been fantastic, but with the new investments, I mean, they provide a lot of support to those companies, and I mean, it's a matter of using the experience so far to get the right mix going forward.
Let's talk about their pay TV operation, the local operation. We have seen some margin squeeze in that space, and we're also starting to see a hotly contested competitive arena.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, Top TV has been an absolute disaster.
On the African continent now, we've got the likes of Star Times coming in with an offering which is basically...
I thought you were talking about the gospel channel on Top TV, which is, not watched by too many people.
Easy, Tiger.
So, I mean, for me anyway, it's great. It's got 4.5 million subscribers here, 1.6 or something million around Africa. It's got sport, really. I mean, Super Sport is the core of that offering. Of course, there's the movies and all of that stuff, but,
and CNBC Africa.
Soccer. Soccer is huge across the entire country. So for me, I think that's going to be fantastic. But Koos Bekker knows that he's got to make sure that satellite delivery channel remains competitive while all sorts of bandwidth options, web TV, IPTV starting to come. I mean, that is the channel people are watching now, watching us. They're watching it on the premium bouquet, and as a result, one can understand why it's done as well as it's done, because obviously the state entertainment options in many of these countries are very poor.
Are we going to hot or not on Naspers?
Well, look at that. I mean,
well, look at the share price graph. But then again, of course, most people would say growth momentum, gentlemen. If you are a value investor, you'd be looking at this graph and going, no way am I putting money into Naspers.
Now, I'm very happy still to be recommending it as a hot, and it's because, as Gary was saying, Marcofoni, all those Eastern European businesses, Mail.ru, basically they've got all these other irons in the fire. They are without doubt the preeminent investment holding company with regard to e-commerce and new media in the emerging markets. In my version of the future, I think the global players like Google and others are going to want to have a piece of that action. So there's an unlocking opportunity there. And then, of course, I like the home.
And you were saying that about Bidvest as well, just
like
the other day.
Kind of stories.
Hot or not on Naspers?
Hot,
hot or not?
Even at this price.
Yeah, hot. Yeah, also.
Even at this price.